Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Steingruber here at AHR Expo 2025 at the Aeroseal booth. I'm talking today with Joe St. Pierre. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, so I've got a couple questions about duct systems for you. So just to start, can you tell me historically how ducts have been sealed in commercial buildings?
Historically, they've used products externally like mastic or what they call hard cast. So they paint this material on the outside of the ductwork. Unfortunately, they miss a lot because of the fact that the ductwork is buried away between walls or between floors or inside of shafts. So unfortunately, they miss a lot. They miss a lot of the leakage. So it's not a good way to really do it.
Right. So is the reason it's not super effective just because they're missing certain places and things of that nature?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times they'll miss 20 or 30% or maybe even more of those areas.
Got it. And so how does Aeroseal technology address that issue in particular?
Great. So instead of doing it externally, Aeroseal uses a whole different methodology. So what it does is it seals the ductwork from the inside out. And that process, the way that works, is that we block the ductwork off from the ends, and we take air, we pump it into the ductwork, and we force that air to leak out the holes. Then we take a sealant, an atomized vinyl polymer, and we push it into the ductwork, and we force it to leak out. As it leaks out, it seals from the inside out. Then we are able to quantify that leakage during that entire process, and instead of just more or less guessing. And
right. You have an actual number. This is where we're supposed to go. This is where we need to cover instead of. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And so does this technology then save energy or save time, things like that?
It does. As far as time, it does, because mastic sealing or externally sealing, there's some guessing, and sometimes it'll push a project way back because they have to go back and test it, and they may miss some things. As far as the energy perspective, it does. Sealing ductwork will save energy in a building. We're able to reduce the fan we're able to reduce the fan energy, and that does make a big difference in a building.
Right. That makes so much sense. And so is there a reason that you wouldn't just like replace an entire duct or replace part of a duct rather than sealing it?
Absolutely. Replacing duct, for starters, even if you replace the duct in a building, you have to go back and reseal it. So you're taking the duct out. And I'll give you an example. I did a project in Chicago where they had to replace they were either going to replace the ductwork, which would have set them back 3 or 4 weeks. We went ahead and we sealed the project in 3 days. The cost would have been ridiculous. And like I said, we were able to do it in a matter of 3 days.
Right. And so are there specific kinds of buildings that would be good candidates for this technology? Is it any kind of commercial building?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done projects in healthcare. We've done projects in multifamily. We've done projects in high-rise buildings. I mean, they're really, if there's ductwork in the building, it can be sealed.
Right, it's going to be anything. And is there like a specific time that this could be addressed, or a best time to address leakage in ducts?
It can be done, I don't care if the building's 70 years old, it can be brand new. As a matter of fact, now what we're doing is we work with a lot of engineering groups where we're coming in early in the project, and we're finding it's actually better to do it early than to do it later.
Right, that makes sense. And speaking of engineers, you've got me a great segue. I wanted to invite Bill Shadid to come and talk to us a little bit more about what the specifying engineer is going to need to know about this. Welcome,
Hello.
Bill.
Thank you.
Appreciate you talking to us. So just what do you think specifically the specifying engineer needs to know about Aeroseal technology, or what information should they have?
Well, I'd start by saying that I think what Aeroseal duct sealing can do in commercial buildings really comes down to helping to ensure that the HVAC system in its entirety works as designed and as engineered. And whether there are code requirements for duct leakage, or whether or not they might be trying to do a high performance design, whether that's for net zero energy or LEED certification, where there's a certain percentage of duct leakage that's required, that's typically pretty low. Manual duct sealing can be pretty hit and miss, as Joe may have touched on. And what we do is we ensure that by sealing that ductwork to the right levels, to the right low levels, that the entire system is going to work as designed, the way that the engineer wants it to. What we like to say is that a lot of time and energy, rightfully so, gets put into commissioning an HVAC system, but nobody's really commissioning the ductwork. We essentially commission the ductwork. So because our technology finds all leaks and seals it, it's a very simple technology that just finds leaks and plugs those leaks. We can actually commission the ductwork And for every length of duct run that we seal, you actually get a seal certificate that gives you proof before we leave the job site that that duct work is sealed to the level you want it to. So you know your system is going to operate as you want it to.
Very nice. Is there a specific timeline for the commissioning that you do, or about how long a building is?
Well, so it's actually happening. When we say commissioning, we're using that term a little bit loosely, right? Well, we're actually, because as our system is sealing, we're doing a continuous blower test or duct pressurization test every second we're sealing. And about every 1 minute while we're sealing, we provide a report of what's your. So we're going to start up here, and as you're running our equipment, you're going to see that duct leakage coming down. Every 60 seconds, you get a duct leakage number. And when we're done, we actually can say you started with, say, 37% leakage, we're down to 2% leakage.
Right.
Here's your certificate, and it's done. There's no more commissioning work needed.
Very nice. And you mentioned earlier, and Joe mentioned also, energy reductions because of the fans and things. Is the Aeroseal technology going to help with energy efficiency, sustainability? I know that those are big buzzwords that a lot of engineers want to know about improving.
Yeah, I'd speak to that in a couple different ways. Let's first take energy efficiency. So Joe, I think, did a good job of covering how you don't have to run your fans at such a high power. Sometimes those fans need to overcompensate when there's a lot of duct leakage. In addition to that, you're paying to heat or cool a certain volume of air, right? And you want that air to get to where you want it to be when you want it to be there. When there's too much duct leakage, it's not getting to those places. And yet the thermostat or the controls in those spaces that you want to maintain at a certain temperature level or humidity level, they're saying, we're not hitting it, we're not heating it. So they keep running the system. If you can get the originally cooled or the original amount of heated air to the right place at the right time, you're using less energy. And then you mentioned sustainability. Part of sustainability is carbon. We're reducing operational carbon outputs into the atmosphere because the system doesn't need to run as hard. So we're using less electricity or natural gas to run that HVAC system. But now we've reduced operational carbon emissions. There's also something we think about and call embodied carbon. How much carbon is actually in the building, right? So our sealant only is going to stick and remain in the ductwork where there's a leak. So if you're doing manual sealing, you might put tape around an entire joint, when in reality, only 15% of that joint has leakage. We're only sealing that 15%. So we're leaving less embodied carbon behind in the building than manual methods of air sealing.
Very nice. Well, those are all the questions I had. Is there anything else about Aeroseal, about the show, that you'd like to say?
We're excited to be here. Really, I know Joe and I both just personally are really, we have conversations. We went to dinner last night. We get very pumped up about this because we actually solve big customer pain points. Aeroseal does, and we prove it. There is no smoking, mirrors. It's literally, we do a seal certificate for every length of duct we seal. You can actually see the numbers, and we really feel like we're solving those pain points for specifying engineers. Just a quick note too, we have a standard 3-part CSI specification that makes it very easy for specifying engineers to specify our product. They can find that on the resources page of our company website.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking
Thanks
the
so
time.
much.
To you and to Joe and to everybody watching. Again, I'm Anna Steingruber here with Consulting Specifying Engineer at the Aeroseal booth at AHR 2025. For any more duct-related topics or HVAC-related topics, make sure to keep checking us out at www.csemag.com. Thank you.